Welcome to the video tutorial on how to use the Turbo Tourney Scheduler to automatically download results and post standings to your website. Before we start the tutorial, just to make sure, it's a good idea to obtain the latest update to Turbo Tourney 2004 before you start using the scheduler, as there have been a couple of fixes posted recently that you'll want to get. And the easiest way to do that is just to select the help menu and then check for product updates, and it will tell you if there's any updates available, and if there are, you can download them and install it. So you want to make sure that before you use the scheduler you have the latest update, which at this time is the 2004 D as in dog update. So you want to make sure you have that before you continue to try to use the scheduler. So what we have here now is just to have my pool loaded with one person in it, and as you can see, if I have the my picks in the pool, and if I select the results over here, I don't yet have any results yet from the tournament. And so I want to set up the scheduler to automatically download the results into my pool, and I'm also using the mysideline.com hosting option so that it will, when it's done with the results, it will post the latest updates to my website without me having to do it during the day. If you are using your own website through the FTP manager, that would be fine. It would work the same exact way. So the first thing we're going to do is we need to set up this file as part of the schedule, and to do that we just select the Tools menu and we select the Schedule. And as you can see, that this is not included in the schedule right now, so this pool file that I have open right now is not going to be part of what happens when Turbo Tourney runs in terms of the scheduler mode. So if you want this file to be picked up as part of the scheduled process, we just need to turn on this option, and that basically is telling the program that yes, we want to go ahead and include this pool into the schedule. And then we have some options on how we want to react when this pool is run as part of the schedule. We can have it, first of all, have it download the results from the website before it does anything, which is typically the case. You'll want to make sure you get the latest results of the tournament before it goes on and does anything else. And then you also have an option to say only continue on if there's been any new games since the last time I recorded results. So if you say you have it set up to run the schedule every hour, if no new games have been finished since the last time you updated, it won't do anything else. It'll just check and it'll say there's no new games and it won't continue on. Otherwise, if you want it to continue on, then if there's new games that are found, it will go through and recalculate standings and repost to your website. So typically you could set these both to be checked, and that way it will get the results and it will only update your website if it has found new game results since the last time. And then what you also see here now is the last download details, and this basically just tells you when the last game results were downloaded and how many games were played at that time. And you have an option here to reset that, so if you wanted to go ahead and start over and re-download the results from the very beginning, you can reset that. And then you tell it, okay, after I have the results downloaded, what do I want it to do? I can either have it build my website, which is basically the same thing as going to the Tools menu and selecting Build Website, or you can have it run the report package, and you can specify, do you want it to go update your website, or do you want it to go right to the printer or to a PDF file? For me, I'm using the mysideline.com hosting option, so I'm going to say that I want it to just go ahead and build my website for me automatically. So it does that. It builds the website files on the computer, and then if I want those files to be automatically uploaded to my website, I also need to select the FTP files when done. So after the program has got the results, calculated my standings and all my new reports, and it's created my website, it's then going to go ahead and upload those files from my computer to my mysideline.com website. So these are the things I want this pool file to do when it's run as part of the schedule. So we can just say OK here, and then we just want to make sure that we save our file so that we don't lose those changes. So if I go back now and look at the schedule, that it's kept everything that I had selected there before. And now we just need to turn on the scheduler itself, and that's done by selecting the Schedule Organizer from the Tools menu. This is basically an organizer that lets you control when does the schedule run, which files are in the schedule, how often to run it, that kind of thing. So right now my scheduler is not enabled, so nothing is running on my computer to look for these files and to update results in my website. So if we want to turn the scheduler on, we just have to enable it, and then we can tell it when we want the scheduler to run during the day. So we can say, maybe I want it to run at just at night, once a night at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we can tell it just go once a day, or we can say at 3 o'clock a.m. run it, and then run every hour after that. So it'll run at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. So you have some options here on how often you want to run it, just depending on how frequently you want to try to update your website. And then you have an option to run the scheduler hidden or visible. Typically you might just want to have it run visible so that you can, if you happen to be on the computer, you can see what it's doing. But it happens pretty fast, so I'm going to leave this option unchecked because I want to see it run when we do this. And then what you see now are all the pools in your computer that are currently included in the schedule. And this is the pool file that we had marked as being included in the schedule just a few minutes ago. And so it's showing up here in the list of files that are scheduled. So you could actually have as many files as you want to be scheduled, and they would all show up in this list. So what happens is when the scheduler runs, it goes through these files one at a time, opens them up, and then does the work that you asked it to do on that schedule screen in terms of downloading results, calculating reports, and uploading to your website. So it will do that for each file in this list. And then you have some other options here on the bottom of the screen. If you want to just test out the schedule to see how it's going to work when it actually runs, you can select this run schedule. So the run schedule from here is basically a simulation of what's going to really happen. And actually it's not just a simulation, it actually does what the scheduler would do. So it's almost as if you're running the scheduler, but you're just kind of doing it, triggering it by hand from the screen versus having it run kind of via the scheduled mode here based on the time. You can also view the schedule log. So as the scheduler runs and does work, it creates some entries in a log file so you can kind of keep track of what's going on when it runs. And then we have an option to clear that log. Let's just go ahead and clear it so we can start with a fresh log, and as you can see here now we don't have any log file. So we have basically a fresh start on this. And if I want, I can go ahead and I can do the run schedule, and I can test out the schedule run to make sure that it works okay. So I'm going to go ahead and select the run schedule, and I'm being told now that my schedule is active because I have it enabled, but the scheduler is not running on my computer. By default, until you actually have some files scheduled and you have the scheduler turned on, it's not running in the background. So right now I'm just being told it's not running, and do I want to start it? And I'm just going to say okay, because it's going to go ahead and start the scheduler now and automatically run through basically the steps I told it to do. It's happening pretty fast. It's already got the results, and now it's going to build the website. And now, because I'm watching this in kind of a test mode, all these messages that are coming up, it's just letting me know what kinds of prompts would come up normally if I would be doing this without running it as a schedule. And as you can see here at the bottom, it's saying that these messages only displayed during the test run. When the schedule is actually run, you won't see this message. It's just going to go ahead and keep going. But just so you can kind of see exactly what's happening behind the scenes when the schedule actually runs. So it's built my website files, and now it's uploading those files to my mysideline.com website. And then when that's done, it's going to open up the browser and load up my website. So the schedule was complete, and basically we've just done the schedule now, but we triggered it by hand just to make sure that it was going to work. And so if I look now in my file, as I can see now that I have the results now loaded. So the program has gone ahead and opened my file and loaded the results. And if I go back and look at the schedule now, I can see that it has gone ahead and it's updated results on this date and this time, and there's been 16 games played. So right now, if I were to run the schedule again, it wouldn't do anything because there would be no new game results yet. And so if I wanted to try to continue to test this, I'm going to have to reset my last download details so that it knows that there's it needs to update the game results for me. The other thing I can do is I can come to the results screen here and I can clear out the results as well, so that now it's basically a fresh start. So the next time the scheduler runs, it normally would have thought that there's already games here, nothing's been new, so don't do any more work. But in terms of our tutorial today, I wanted to go ahead and continue to keep reposting things, and so I'm doing that by just clearing the game results. Okay, so what I want to show you here now is if you look in the system tray of your computer, you'll see the Turbo Tourney Scheduler icon is now there, letting you know that the scheduler service is basically running in the background, so that once you have some files scheduled, this kind of just sits out here until it's time to go, and then it'll trigger off those pool files to be run. And you can go ahead and you can view the log from this point, so that's basically showing you the same log that we looked at within the Turbo Tourney application. So if I go back into Turbo Tourney here and I bring back up the schedule organizer, right now on my computer it's 2:53. So if we come into the organizer and we tell it we want to trigger this schedule at 2:55, we'll give it some time. It'll be 2:54 here in a second. We'll give it some time to make that. We'll say 2:55 p.m. is when we'll have the next scheduled job run. And then after it runs, we want to have it run, you can either say once a day, so basically it'd be at 2:55 p.m. every day, or we can say have it recur every certain number of hours. So we're going to go ahead and say let's start at 2:55, and then we're going to have it run every hour after that. So 2:55 and then 3:55 and 4:55, it will go out and it will run this pool. It'll download the results and upload the reports to my website. So we'll go ahead and say OK to this, and we'll close down Turbo Tourney. And now we just have to wait until 2:55, and then at which time the program will come up. It will download the results into that pool, run the reports, and upload to the website. And it would do that for each and every pool file that you had listed in your schedule organizer. For this example, we only have one pool file, so all it's going to do is open that one file, get the results, and post the files to the website. So here we are, 2:55, and here comes the Turbo Tourney schedule mode screen. And as you can see, the first thing it does, it downloads the results. It's building the website, and now it's uploading those website files to my mysideline.com web page. So right now it's all happening by itself. I'm not touching the keyboard, I'm not doing anything, I'm just sitting here watching it. And when it's done, it closes down and it's over with, it's complete. And so if we go into the log now, we can look and see that here's what's now happened. If you remember the last time we looked at it, we just had these few entries, and here at 2:55 it said it noticed that the scheduled time was changed to 2:55. And then right here at 2:55 it knows, okay, it's time to go and run the schedule. And this entry here is telling me that it's this is the pool file that it's opened up and trying to run the schedule job on. And if you remember, we got those messages before. We were running it kind of in watch mode, in test mode earlier. Here's the messages that were displayed. So they don't come up when you're running the scheduler, they just get logged into this log file so that you can see kind of what things came up during the scheduled run. So if you want to look and see what's going on, you can look in the log and find out. But most of these are just informational messages that you just say OK to. And when the scheduled runs, we don't want to have any prompts come up because we don't want to be having to sit at the computer and do anything. And then the last thing we see in here is that it said it's found a recurring option of every 1 hour, so the next time has been set for 2:55. So like I said, originally we started at 2:55, we said recurred every hour. So every hour now, at 55 minutes after the hour, it's going to run, look for results, and if it finds any, it will upload the new standings to my website. So now if we go back into Turbo Tourney, and we go back into our schedule organizer, what we're going to see is that the trigger schedule time has now been updated to 3:55. So basically, like I said, it's going to keep running at 3:55, at 4:55. And now if I want to change this, I can modify the time. I can change the recurrent schedule. If I want it to run again, I can come back in here and say run at 2:59, and it'll run again in 2 minutes. So you can control when it runs here, and it shows you which pools are going to be run when the schedule file gets triggered off. So if we look here now, we can see we have results in our pool, and it did upload to the website. So that's just a basic example of how you use the Turbo Tourney Scheduler to have it automatically get results and post updated web reports to your website.